It's Friday, July 10th, 2026. Welcome to episode 210 of the Alameda Postcast, an audio service of the Alameda Post. I'm your host, Scott Peeler. In this edition of the Postcast, an arrest in the June 11th beach takeover shooting. The Oakland soccer team pulls up roots. The annual Public Rights Report. You can help tell Alameda's story, both for people and for birds. The latest real estate sales. Congratulations to 76 new citizens, and a look back at the July 4th parade. Activities for your weekend, including your chance to meet a pair of Alameda Post creators. These stories and more on this episode of the Alameda Postcast. Our top story, in an update posted to Facebook on Thursday the 9th, the Alameda Police Department announced they made 2 arrests connected with a shooting near Crown Beach after a beach takeover on the evening of June 11th. That night, a juvenile and an adult in the 300 block of Park Street were shot, and the suspect fled the scene. After identifying the involved vehicle and a suspect, APD officers alerted Bay Area law enforcement agencies. The vehicle involved was located the next day, June 12th, but the suspect remained outstanding. On Wednesday, the 8th of July, Alameda officers, with the assistance of the U.S. Marshals Task Force, located and arrested a 19-year-old man in Antioch without incident. He was booked on charges of attempted murder. A second individual, an 18-year-old woman, was also arrested for accessory after the fact. While arrests have been made, the investigation is still unfinished. APD did not include an update on the condition of the shooting victims. However, as the suspect was charged with attempted murder, that charge indicates both people survived the shooting. As noted in last week's episode, APD officers working with the Alameda County Sheriff's Department and the East Bay Regional Parks Department Police completely quashed a subsequent attempted takeover on June 27th that was also promoted on social media. Other cities have contended with similar threatened takeovers, including one in Emeryville scheduled for July 3rd that was prevented, and another that took place July 4th in Newport Beach where 400 people were arrested. Story at alamedapost.com/news. Also on Thursday, the Oakland Roots officially announced that 2026 will be the club's final season playing at the Oakland Coliseum. Quote, "The club is hard at work securing a venue for 2027 and beyond and looks forward to celebrating its final season at the historic Oakland venue," end quote, according to the press release. Oakland Roots and Soul president Lindsay Behrens noted that the club has, quote, "long stated that controlling our own venue is paramount to the long-term success of the club and soccer here in Oakland. While we have loved our time at the Coliseum over these 2 seasons, it is not a viable ongoing option for us as the relationship is currently structured," end quote. The announcement noted that new short-term options the club is considering include a pop-up venue in the Coliseum parking lot and, as reported in episode 208, transforming its recently acquired training facility on Bay Farm into a temporary match-day venue. Since entering into a long-term lease at the former Raiders training facility, the club oversees all venue operations and logistics, creating the potential for an interim game day venue they would fully control. For the long term, the club will continue to pursue its interest in building a permanent home at the Howard Terminal site, first announced more than a year ago. Plans and meetings are now underway to secure an exclusive negotiating agreement with the Port of Oakland for the site, and an ongoing dialogue with the African American Sports and Entertainment Group continues to explore the long-term potential of building a permanent soccer stadium at the Coliseum site. Story at alamedapost.com/sports. Alameda's Prosecution and Public Rights Unit, part of the City Attorney's Office, has released its 2025 annual report. The unit is the only one of its kind in Northern California, dedicated to representing the people of the state of California in misdemeanor criminal matters and enforcing fair housing and consumer protection laws. As reported back in episode 163 last year, in 2025, the PPRU was awarded the 2025 Hudson Award from the American Bar Association for their work in the Barnhill Marina case. Among this past year's accolades, the unanimous approval of its first-in-the-city Victim Services Program. Through this initiative, PPRU victim advocates now provide crisis intervention, case management, and support services to victims and witnesses of crime throughout the criminal justice process. To support this work, the PPRU also secured $500,000 in federal grant funding through the Byrne State Crisis Intervention Program. The prosecution team reviewed more than 1,200 cases for charging, a 50% increase over 2024's record-setting 800 cases, and successfully resolved 455 cases with an 85% favorable outcome rate. Full story at alamedapost.com/news. If you're an Alameda resident, odds are you've got your go-to site to find out what's happening on the island. Here at the Post, we've got our events calendar all around Alameda and the Postcast itself. There's also multiple other online sources promoting the best of Alameda, but what if you're a visitor or just learning the ropes? That's That's the goal of Visit Alameda, a new initiative from the West Alameda Business Association to create one place where people can explore neighborhoods, discover experiences, support local businesses, and connect more deeply with Alameda. From your favorite dog-friendly day to the best burger to hidden gems and just what would you tell a first-time visitor, West Alameda Business wants to hear from you and hear about your best Alameda experiences. Head to alamedapost.com/op-ed, where WABA Director Elisa Glickman lays out the full vision and provides a link for you to help build Visit Alameda. You can also help the greater Bay Area community when it comes to our feathered friends, and there are a lot of them. In the entirety of the U.S., there are around 1,100 species of bird, and just over 700 of them have been cataloged in the Golden State alone. Despite our abundance of avians, we are in the minority of states who do not have a breeding bird atlas. 44 other states have this guide that helps track what species are breeding in what particular areas. Because California contains such a large landmass, the state has been divided into approximately 16,500 survey blocks that are each 3 by 3 miles. There are already close to 80,000 active birders in the state. More are welcome, but they need to be trained in the methods used for atlasing. If you'd like to step up your birding game or just learn more about this critical tool in wildlife protection, check out Jeff Manker's article at alamedapost.com/nature. As we do every 2 weeks, time to take a look at the latest residential real estate sales. From June 23rd through July 5th, 19 homes sold, 16 on the main island, 3 on Bay Farm. Prices range from $530,000 to $2,562,500. The age of the homes range from less than a year to 131 years old. Average time from listing to offer, 22 days. 10 properties sold for above list price, 3 at asking, and in a development that's rather new since we've been reporting, 6 homes were sold for below list price, which is the highest number in recent memory. Full details in Liz Rush's article at alamedapost.com/real-estate. On July 1st, the USS Hornet hosted one of its finest annual traditions as 76 people from 28 countries became U.S. citizens at the Naturalization Service presented in partnership with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. The 76 invitees are an intentional number. The Hornet has been holding this ceremony for 10 years. The home countries of the newly minted citizens, Bangladesh, Belgium, Cameroon, China, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Egypt, El Salvador, Ethiopia, France, Germany, Guatemala, India, Italy, Jordan, Kenya, Mexico, Nepal, New Zealand, Nicaragua, Philippines, Russia, Taiwan, Thailand, Turkey, and Ukraine, as well as Uruguay and Vietnam. At the end of the naturalization ceremony, all of the new citizens were given a certificate along with a QR code that linked to voter registration and information on how to obtain a passport. Many of the families then celebrated with pictures taken around the ship, and they were given a gift card to come back for a free visit to the Hornet. Find Jean Chen's story along with pictures from Maurice Ramirez at alamedapost.com/news. Speaking of the Hornet, don't forget, with summer in full swing, the Hornet is back to being open on Thursdays, so you can step aboard Thursday through Monday from 10 to 5 each day, last entry at 4. Just 3 days after the Hornet ceremony, Alameda celebrated America's 250th and Alameda Fire's 150th at the annual July 4th parade. A great bit of historical perspective, the AFD was formed the same year as the Battle of Little Bighorn. The winners of the various parade awards will be announced later on. David Boitano has the story. Maurice Ramirez once again provides the photos at alamedapost.com/alameda-life. This weekend, the beginning of a new tradition, Alameda BookCon at the Alameda Free Library main branch, Saturday from 10:30 until 4. Organizers initially envisioned a modest event centered around 10 featured authors, but it has grown to more than 50 Bay Area authors, creators, and illustrators, representing a wide range of genres and audiences. Animator and author Alan Barriaro will be there. He's the Academy Award-winning director of the brilliant Pixar short Piper. The Post will be well represented. Karen Jensen, author of The Strength of Water, and our very own Brees, creator of Two Birds from Alameda, will be there as well. For full details on the inaugural BookCon, see Karen Jensen's article at alamedapost.com/arts. Karen was too modest to mention her own appearance in her article, but she deserves it. Alameda BookCon, just one of the events highlighted by Amanda Laird in her weekly All-Around Alameda column. Tonight, Friday, head to Two Marys Mercantile for the weekly Friday night social with sips, shops, and sunsets on the water, pop-up vendors, and wine and charcuterie from Mosley's from 5 to 8. Alameda Walks presents their latest offering Saturday at 9. Join the Wild Oyster Project Sunday the 12th from 10 until 1 at the Reef Center as they continue their efforts to restore the oyster reefs to San Francisco Bay. On Tuesday, check out Family Paddle Nights from Gaia Guides. Full details in the All-Around Alameda column at alamedapost.com/alameda-life. Hope you can join me Sunday morning at 8 a.m. on KCSM HD2 or streaming from kcsm.org when my guest will be Vincent Poix, General Manager of Alameda Brewing. If you missed last week's interview with Brees of Two Birds from Alameda, you can check it out in your podcast feed Sunday on Amazon, Apple, or Spotify. Mark your calendars for Radio Day by the Bay, July 18th at the California Historical Radio Society. Yours truly will be appearing in a presentation of a classic Thin Man radio episode, The Case of the Goofy Groom. I'll be playing the groom. Details at californiahistoricalradio.org. Find the Alameda Post on all the social media platforms, now including TikTok. Get the Postcast wherever you get your podcasts, or tell your smart device to play the Alameda Postcast podcast. I'm Scott Peeler, back next Friday with episode 211 of the Alameda Postcast.